and welcome to the Toffee's Victoria Show. I'm your host, Andy, and we've got Nick, Tim, and Chris with us. We're back. It's been a while, a long while. Last time we were here was the Liverpool derby win. And then, just everything happened with Everton. But
I think that was probably the last time we were all happy.
Yeah, probably it was.
Personally, in football-wise,
just in general. Yeah.
As you were saying, Tim, like it's just gone from the highs, and we're just really down in the lows now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're doing this show back by unpopular demand. We obviously all heard the news by now. The news heard around the world, particularly if you're an Everton supporter, that Carlo the Snake has jogged off to Real Madrid, who didn't want him 2 years ago, but good luck to him.
No, not good luck.
Yeah, don't good luck. What are you on about?
No, fair.
But, we're all Atletico Madrid fans, right?
That's right. We have to be now because we can't go for Barca because of the red-headed twat that's there.
Yeah.
But, I think I was reading rumours today that even the players were surprised. Like, he didn't even he signed off at the end of the season and said, all right, enjoy your break. I'll see you for pre-season in a few weeks. And then they found out first through the media as well. I mean, what a way to do it.
That's so unprofessional.
And, it's disgusting.
Especially when everything points to it. It seems like it's been going on for a couple of weeks. I don't know if you guys saw it. I don't know how much to read into it, but young Davide's partner started saying goodbye to her gym buddies or whatever, or trainer, whatever it was. And look, obviously it might just be coincidence, but you would think that they've been preparing this for a while. And the fact that it happened so quickly, pretty much overnight for us. We only started hearing rumours about it at 8 p.m. and by 3-4 in the morning it was done.
Yeah.
So you would imagine that this has been on the cards for a while.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, what makes it even a bit more sour is that, 2-3 weeks ago? Not even. That he was linked to the vacant manager's position there. He said, no, I'm very happy here. I've got a project here. I'm not going anywhere. And then 2 weeks later, his word meant nothing, really.
Yeah,
well, I think that's just it. And, I think Everton fans have had a bit of, from what I've seen, and I try and not pay too much attention to it, but from what I've seen, they've had a bit of stick from fans of other clubs going, how can you have a go at somebody for going to Madrid? And, in principle, you can agree with that, right? Real Madrid come calling, who are you going to go to? I understand that, but it's just the lack of integrity, the fact that he's come out and said those things, not even necessarily about the project, because that but the fact that he's come out and talked about the European Super League the way that he did, he was so harsh about that.
That's right.
And then he's just basically, it seems like he sold his soul to go and work with Perez. And it's just the lack of integrity that I can't get past.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about those Super League comments. Yeah, it's a good point. Good point indeed.
Everything he said for the last 3 months about after games, we're working on the project. We've got things happening. It takes time. I need more players. Everything he said about the Super League, it's against football, and I can't believe they'd go against the traditions of football. And it's so wrong for him to then literally leave in 8 hours. The news broke from Fabrizio Romano at, like Nick said, about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock our time here. By 2 o'clock in the morning, it was done. And it wasn't like they've approached him. It was like they are in talks with him. He's trying to get out of his contract at Everton. And it happened like that, which goes to what you said, Tim, that, it seems like it was going on behind the scenes. And, I kind of don't buy into the fact that players didn't know. I think that probably makes a bit of sense that they possibly did know that he wasn't going to be around, because they clearly didn't play for him the last month of the season.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
They clearly didn't. Half the players haven't been following him on Instagram for how long, we don't know. Whether that's really a thing is not really neither here nor there. But
maybe they just recently blocked him like we all did.
Yeah.
I'll teach him. I'll take that, Carlo. That's the only thing within my power to do, and I blocked him. And do you know what? I felt good about it.
he deserved it. You know, we all fell in love with what Carlo Ancelotti was and what he was going to bring to Everton, and this whole romance of Carlo Ancelotti getting all these players. We got James, he brought in Allen. We're going to get a new stadium. He come out, I think, about 3 months ago and said, you know, if I'm here when the new stadium opens, it means I've done a really good job, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, and he was very much looking forward to managing like the first game in the new stadium. Yeah.
He's a snake. He's a snake. He's a liar. He's a cockbag, and he should never be allowed back at Goodison Park ever again. His credibility is zero. Absolutely zero. To say the things that he said and then to leave in the way he did. You know, if it was a drawn-out process and they came to us and said, hey, we want him, here's what we're going to do, and it took a couple of days and then it happened, you know, he come out with some reason, I want to move to Spain or whatever, there's reasons behind it. Okay, maybe a little bit of credibility and I'd feel a little bit, you know, a bit better about you than I do. But the way it happened and how quick it happened is not on especially because of the way and the things that he said, you know, just the way he
let us on.
It's just,
That's exactly it. I know it sounds very dramatic, and obviously this is a guy that we don't know personally. We've got no affiliation. He was in our lives for 18 months, which in managerial terms is not that long.
Longer than most of my relationships, Nick. So
that's
a long time.
Absolutely fair enough. But I know it sounds ridiculous, but I felt led on and lied to. And you know, as I say, you can't blame someone for going and taking on a job like Real Madrid. But I just think with all the stuff that's gone on before that, it just makes it 10 times worse. And I think as an Evertonian, people are cross between devastated and very, very angry right now. And
I think everyone's going through like the 7 stages of grief, maybe
definitely.
more than once.
Well, I'm going back and forth. So it's anger, then it was sadness, then it was a bit of
denial.
Now I'm back to rage again. So yeah.
Do you guys?
He literally did the opposite of everything he said.
Yeah.
When he spoke about the Super League, he spoke about they're doing this purely for money. It's all about money and making as much money as they can. It goes against football. Why are you going to Real Madrid? You're going there for a final paycheck. Because we all know in 12 months' time, he's going to get sacked from there like he did last time. They won't win the league next year. They won't win the Champions League next year. They're $1 billion in debt. They're going to have to sell off their players to be able to do anything in the transfer market. He's there for a retirement fund. So
they can still afford to pay out his contract.
Exactly right. So he literally has gone against everything he said. He has zero credibility as a manager, and good riddance to him. I'm glad he's gone. I hope he doesn't win a game there. I would love to see them get smacked 3 or 4-0 in the first game by a team that come up from the second division, and him to go, you know what, my heart's not really in it, and leave really early. Because that'd be great, because that's all he deserves. Deserves to be in a fucking retirement home.
You mentioned heart. Sorry, Tim.
No, you go, Andy.
You mentioned Hart before, Chris. It was interesting with his statement that, you know, he basically said, you know, good luck to, you know, Everton and all the Evertonians, and, you know, my heart belongs in Madrid. I'm like, what do you mean? What?
He was there for a year and a half.
Yeah, and he was abused by their fans. Like, they turned up at their training sessions and had banners saying Carlo out. Like, that literally, they hated him.
The season he got sacked.
Did he play for Real Madrid? I don't think he played for him.
I don't think so.
The Milan clubs.
The season he got sacked, he got them second in the league and to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Perez sacked him, and when they asked Perez what did he do wrong, his answer was, "I don't know, really." He just sacked him to bow to because of the pressure of the fans. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Why would you want to go back to a club that's treated you like that? Now, I heard some rumours that he's getting half of what he was getting at Everton, but then I heard another rumour that said he's getting double. Surely it's double.
I heard the double.
Surely he's not walking away from Everton for half his wage to go back to a club that treated him like that.
It's double. There's no way you're going to go for half the money. You know, some of the things that I've heard that he's said in the media, you know, Real Madrid are competing to win the Champions League. Everton are competing to make Europe. You know, if you're going just for that reason, well, you must be getting paid a pretty penny because you're going to have to do a lot more work over at Real Madrid. Their fans are a lot more cutthroat than us. We clearly gave him the rub of the mill this whole season when we didn't slate them at all when he played crap tactics, didn't play any young players. We got beaten in games that we should have won. And not only did we get beaten, we got played off the park by Fulham twice.
Absolutely pants.
Fulham got relegated at the bare bones, and we got played off the park by them twice. We didn't win. We barely won a game at home all season, which is just never something that ever happens to us.
Embarrassing.
Okay, we won the derby. We beat Tottenham. We had a few good results that we hadn't had in a very long time. Take those results out, and he did nothing. He honestly did nothing. He brought in 3 or 4 players, and we finished exactly where we finished last year.
I actually think I think he brought in 2 players. I think Decore's been on our radar long before Ancelotti came on board, and I think Brands has been after him for a while.
Yep.
Godfrey is clearly a brand signing.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
given Godfrey's age, the way Carlo managed that team, Godfrey was fucking lucky to get a game.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, then, so what Carlo's legacy is finishing us 2 points. Was it 2 points or 2 places on the table higher than last season?
I think he finished a number of points ahead, but I think it was
13
a number of
points or something.
points.
we were 2 points ex. I think we finished 12th last season.
Yeah. Ironically, in any other season, we would have had enough points to make Europe, weirdly. But his legacy is going to be a 31-year-old Brazilian defensive midfielder and James Rodriguez, who probably won't stay now anyway and can barely get on the pitch. And in the last few games, when he did get on the pitch, he looked like he didn't care. And I think the way that it's ended with him leaving is almost like a mirror of how the season went. We were talking, just before we started filming about the first 5 weeks of the season, and Spirit of the Blues was number 1 on the music charts, and Kendall Howard's Way was number 1 on the Apple movie charts and all that. And, then the season just progressively got worse and worse and worse, and it petered out, and at the end he left. And there was always a question mark when he came on board. He can take a squad full of amazing players and make them 5 or 10% better to get them to win titles and stuff like that. But can he build a team? And I think he realized he couldn't. So he ran.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It all comes back to why did he take the job in the first place? And that's where I think my trust and my belief in him, because I thought, you know what, fair play, this guy, he's probably not done this before. Yes, I know we've thrown a bit of money at him, but he's probably not done this before. He's had to build a team from scratch, and he's seen, the infrastructure we're trying to put in place at Everton. He's seen our academy. He's seen the owners. He's seen the crux of the squad there and his ability to add to it. And he thought, you know what, I can actually build a team and make something. This club's going somewhere. They're pushing for Europe. Let's get them to the next step. I've got a 3-4 year contract. Hopefully the new stadium will be built by then. And that's my legacy. It turns out it was just a smoke and mirrors thing, and he paid us all a lot of lip service. He was there for a paycheck. Napoli probably wasn't working out very well, and he used us until something else came along, and it's come along in the shape of Real Madrid and their toxic fan base.
And to touch on something Chris said as well, I mean, I'm sort of probably at acceptance stage now in a way, because Chris was mentioning, like, how many times did we all discuss amongst ourselves, and probably, like, I'd probably have to go back and watch a few episodes, but probably during episodes as well, where we never really said Ancelotti lost that game because he chose the wrong tactics or whatever. I think even as a supporter group, like all of Toffee's Victoria in our chat groups and all that would always say, well, he doesn't have the players at his disposal to play the way he wants to play. We all made excuses for him because we'd never had such a manager with such a world-class CV in our club before.
That was the romance.
So there was a lot of...
That was the romance of having Carlo Ancelotti. He got a lot more leeway from us because he was Carlo Ancelotti.
And I wonder if fans were in the ground, whether he would have got the same leeway. But just to give you an example, like... something I was looking at today. So at the time we signed Ancelotti, Arsenal signed Arteta.
That's right, yeah.
And I was sort of debating with my mate, who's an Arsenal supporter, unfortunately, who got the better manager. And I sort of looked at I reckon you could say halfway through last season that we were... Yeah, so I think, we got Ancelotti and Arteta at the same time, and halfway through the season, you'd say that we made the better choice, assuming we had a choice of the two. But if you look at it now, I mean, I think Arsenal finished above us. If you watch Arsenal play, no matter how many players they have injured, they play the same system, the same shape, doesn't matter who they're playing. They might drop, one midfielder a bit deeper or whatever, but all the players know where they're supposed to be on the field because they're used to the system. The formation doesn't change week to week. Young guys were given a chance when players were injured. Arteta is basically the anti-Carlo. And just to put it into even further perspective, there were Arsenal fans calling for Arteta's head. I don't think any fans really ever seriously called for Ancelotti's head.
No.
Small
And
minority,
Ancelotti's points,
probably.
but not as bad as it got with
Oh
Arteta
yeah, not
at
as
Arsenal,
bad
I
as
don't think,
not as
at
bad as
stages.
Arteta. Yeah.
Definitely not as bad as any of our
Carlos,
managers like Silver or Allardyce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I know this is only sort of one simple stat, but as you know, I love my stats. Carlos points per game 1.6, actually the best of any recent manager that we've had. Closest to that was actually Bobby Brown-Shoes at 1.56. Arteta's points per game since he took over at the same time at Arsenal as Ancelotti, 1.83.
Mm.
So you'd have to say that Arteta, an untried manager, has done better with similar limitations. Really, it's not like they outspent us, or you know what I mean? Because he played the same system. He's put faith in kids. I mean, some of those kids like that are out on loan for them, Smith Rowe, Willock, all that. They've shown something on loan. Oh, Smith Rowe's not on loan. Sorry, what's the other? Maitland-Niles or whatever. They'll be able to sell those kids for money. And that's supposed to be our whole transfer strategy, is to bring in these kids, get games into them. If they're really, really good, we'll sell them on for more money, or potentially, hopefully keep them if they're really good. But instead, we're bringing in James, who Real Madrid couldn't wait to get off their books. We've brought in Allen, and these guys will be on big wages. And they've maybe got 1 or 2 years left in them.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying, guys like Branthwaite, Gordon went out on loan. Nkunku couldn't get a game even when Digne was out for 3 months. Maybe Ancelotti leaving is a bit of a blessing to get this club back on track and realise there is no quick fix. We can't just buy 2 players who are 29 and think we're going to crack the top 6 next season. We've got 3 or 4 years till the stadium is built. Let's steadily build between now and then. And I don't know if Ancelotti was capable of that.
It's a really good
because in order to build, you have to bring in young players and give them games. You have to.
If you have a look at the young players we have on our books, under 25 players under 25 that he played this season. Okay, Davies, who's 24, but he's been around a lot.
Yeah.
DCL and Richarlison, 24 as well, but they've been around a lot. He sent Branthwaite on loan, who's 18 years old, who at the end of last year, under Carlo, was quality, right? Granted, he got injured. He did get injured. Absolutely understand that. And then we brought in Godfrey, so he needed to go out. But you would have thought, okay, he's done well for you. You might keep him around, but he didn't. And Nkunku, in those first cup games this year, was best player on the park. And we're all looking going, holy shit, he's going to take over Coleman by the end of the season.
Mm.
He played 3 or 4 games for the whole year in the Prem. I think he started 2, come off the bench maybe 3 or 4 times. He wasn't in the squad for more than half the games of the season when he clearly showed something. Okay, yes, it's playing against lower ranked teams, but he showed something in those games enough to be able to go, okay, we're going to give you a crack in the Prem. Carlo didn't.
There was a couple of those games, and I'm not saying he would have been the answer or something like that, but when we're dire at home to Newcastle, or we're dire at home to Fulham, or whoever it might be, pick any 6 or 7, get Burnley, Sheffield United, whoever. You just think when it's clearly not working, we've got no penetration, no one's running at anybody. Why would you not bring on someone like Nkunku, who's a bit of a maverick, a bit untried, a bit untested, but when he has come on, he looks like he can take on a player, and he might screw up a few times, and he might be out of position. He's a young player. But at least when we're 2-0 at home, 1-0 at home to Newcastle down. I know they scored in the last one, it's like 2-0, but just throw him on and see what happens. Because
same with Gordon, who he sent on loan. Same thing.
Yeah.
And you could name Holgate went backwards under Ancelotti. I don't know how much of that is to do with Carlo, but he was one of the players of the season last season, and he's gone backwards. Kenny, I'm not saying that he's the answer at right back, but we all knew that Coleman was aging and struggling with that serious injury he had a couple of years ago. Oh, let's take our young academy player and send him out on loan after he played 1 game.
But I thought Kenny going out on loan means that, okay, and Nkunku's going to be the backup here.
Yeah.
He's going to be the backup. He played well in those cup games. Coleman gets injured. Then he goes, you know what, I'm just going to play 3 at the back now because I don't have the players.
Yeah.
Then he plays Godfrey out there. Then he changes again and then brings Holgate and plays Holgate there. He played Iwobi there in a couple of games.
Right wing back, that's right. Which, to be fair, was actually 2 of Iwobi's best games for us. But anyway,
absolutely. But you've got this kid.
Very good. But
you've got this kid that's his role, and he's shown us something, and you're not giving him a game. Like it blew our minds at the time, and now that I sit back and think about it, it's very, very clear that Carlo has his players and his players only. The players that he wants in his team, he will pick them no matter what. Even
Josh King. Let's go out and sign a backup striker after we send again another young guy. Alice Sims could have done a job for us, but he sent Sims on loan. We paid out King's contract at Bournemouth and brought him over on whatever wages. And even when DCL was out injured, he couldn't even get a 10-minute cameo off the bench half the time.
Well, Thierry Small's another one where it's just sort of gone backwards. He was the next best thing, and then all of a sudden he's disappeared as well. So, Chris, you're absolutely right. He clearly has his players, his way of playing, and because he doesn't have his players at Everton, he's just chopping and changing and panicking. And, I don't know. I honestly, I don't get it. And I think, you've all said, I think we gave him, because it was Carlo Ancelotti, we gave him way more leniency than we would have anybody else. I think, imagine, and I'm not by any way sticking up for Sam Allardyce, but imagine if Sam Allardyce had got those results that season at home. It would have been, curtains from almost minute one. And Carlo got away with it, if you think about it. So
we all bought into the project. We bought into the project that it was going to be it was going to take time. So we gave him the leeway for the project. I guarantee, right, whoever we get in for next season, they come in and they go, okay, we've got a project here. I guarantee we lose 2 or 3 games in a row and we will all be on that manager's back, no matter who they are. I guarantee it. But because it was Carlo Ancelotti, we weren't. We gave him the time. Because of the romanticism, it's Carlo Ancelotti. How have we got Carlo Ancelotti as our manager? But as we all know, your word means nothing. And the snake left at the first opportunity he got. So if we took the romanticism out of it last year, we would have been ripping him from probably December onwards. I don't think, and we won a game in November. I think we didn't win a game at all in November. I think December we won a few where we shouldn't have. And then January, I don't think we won a game. And then, we fell off the cliff. We're right at the top and then we just dropped completely. No other manager we would have let get away with that to the extent that we did with Carlo. Yeah, there was a few boo boys out there, but could you imagine there were fans in the stadium and some of those results? Like Fulham twice. We lost to Fulham, who finished last, twice. I think we gave them a third of their points for the year.
We beat them away 3-2.
Yeah, we lost to Newcastle twice.
We could have dropped that though.
Lost to Fulham.
Oh, the Fulham away game where I think we were 3-1 up or 3-0 up, and they came back to 3-2.
They could have drawn that. We could have bottled it.
Put one in, yeah.
Well, we should have. They should have got a point at least in that game.
Yeah.
We dropped points left, right, and centre. And if James didn't play, we struggled. And Carlo loved James. And when he was half fit or 20% fit, 30% fit, he'd chuck him in anyway. He just played him no matter what, probably to the detriment of James. He was very, very good. His output, but could he have been better if his injuries were managed better? He wasn't thrown back in. Probably. But Carlo threw him in because it's who he knows, tried and trusted. Let's let him go. I know what he's going to do for me. Sitting back now and thinking about it, his tactics weren't that great. The way he went about certain games, to play 3 at the back against some of those lower teams, when we were winning, we were winning games and then he goes and changes the formation. What was the point of it? We're all sitting there going, hang on a second, why are we doing this?
I think his tactics were very good against the higher up teams, which was, sit deep, play on the counter, and it worked. And we got some good results, particularly over Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, weren't we second on the table at Boxing Day?
Yeah.
So it really all come down after that. And look, to be fair, guys like Decore, Allen, James, Dinya, Richarlison, DCL all missed months of the season.
So many injuries,
between them. But at the same time, instead of bringing in, as we said, so I won't harp on it, but instead of bringing in a young guy or whatever and keeping the same system, he chopped it and he changed it. And as you say, Chris, we're going to these relegation guys that we should be beating up, coming off wins against like Chelsea and Arsenal and stuff. And he's playing 5 at the back. And so are they. They're parking the bus because we're the better team. And we just have no idea how to break them down. And he wasn't very big on making subs during a game to change that up either.
No, he wasn't. But he always made exactly the same side at relatively the same time. He'd always bring on Iwobi or someone of that sort of nature with like 5 minutes to go, and that was it. He never changed, he would rarely change the system in a game when we're chasing, take a defender off, put an extra midfielder on, that sort of thing. So, you know, he, in all honesty, I know you said at the start, I reckon if we were to go back and analyze some of the games like we did in the earlier podcasts, some of the things that we said, oh, why did he do this? And we go, well, in Carlo we trust, in Carlo we trust. We think about it now, well, realistically, we probably should have gave him a lot more slack for that, because a lot of the results come down to the way he managed the team and
the way he set them up.
Disguise that he's gone. I know, like, I'm obviously still quite angry about it. I just can't believe someone would leave in a 5-hour time frame. It baffles me. So I really hope it comes out that he was planning for 2 weeks before, because then I can go, okay, you know what? You premeditated it. It didn't take 5 hours. You haven't just jumped ship for the sake of it. So hopefully we just now bring in a manager who wants to buy into Everton, buy into brands and our transfer philosophy, buy into the squad we've got. I've got a list here of all our young players. There is 11 players on this list who are top quality and probably deserve to be playing week in, week out in the Premier League, if not on the bench for pretty good teams. Some of these ones that we've only seen once or twice, it baffles me. So I really hope that we finally bring in someone who buys into the Everton ethos. Yes, it's gonna be tough, whoever comes in, no matter what, because the fans we're already up in arms about everybody that we've been linked with. We don't want anybody.
I think, on that note, I think, going from the dizzying heights of Carlo Ancelotti and his announcement, I think anyone after that, it's going to be hard to look at it as not a little disappointing, because we're not going to get another Carlo this time around. But that could be a good thing.
Well,
because it didn't work.
I think maybe the crossroads, and I know we're all taken in by it, I think maybe the crossroads is where it was Ancelotti or Arteta, young, hungry manager who's going to play the kids, or Carlo Ancelotti, his trophies, all this sort of stuff. And maybe we were all blinded by that. And in hindsight, that crossroads could have ended up very differently for us. But it's all hindsight. And I don't know. Should we talk about the managers we could get?
So I guess
should we go into half-time and then get into it?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll be back. Half-time. All right, we're back from halftime, and let's talk the future. We're being linked with quite a few managers who are no longer managing. Tim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think just to name a few that I've noted here, there's Graham Potter, Nuno Espirito Santo, Eddie Howe, Rafa Benitez, Moyes has weaseled his way back in there. I did see Marco Silva's name come up again, but surely that was a meme.
Gotta be a troll.
Surely. And obviously one that, I think there's quite strong support for from the fan base is Big Dunk, which is interesting. For me, if I had to choose one, I think it's Nick. I agree with that shake of the head. I think it's too early for Big Dunk.
Don't get me wrong, love him to bits, but please God no.
Yeah, I think I just don't think it's the right appointment. What I do believe, and I've said this a lot to you guys and in the chat group and all that, so I'll probably sound like a bit of a broken record to anyone who's listened to me. I think we need a manager now. They don't necessarily have to be young, but they need to be really able to commit to the next 3 or 4 years moving into our new stadium. They need to work with brands' transfer strategy. They need to be willing to give games to young players. And I think maybe it would help if they had some Premier League experience. As I said, I do like my stats. So I was doing the points per match for all our past managers, and I thought I'd look at the same thing for our potential new managers. So you've got Nuno sits there on 1.68. They wouldn't obviously all be the Prem though. Some of those would have been from the Championship. I didn't split them; it was too hard. And let's not forget, he basically had the Portuguese national side.
Shoddy work.
Yeah, that's it. He basically had the Portuguese national side playing for him in the Championship. So I think their squad was far above anything there. So that's probably added to that points tally. But also, I like the idea that he could bring across, say a Traore,
Oh, I'd love him.
who's
Yeah.
the type of player that we don't have, who will pick up the ball, run at pace, and sort of terrify defenses. Rafa, obviously, he kind of feels like the easy choice because he lives in Everton. He's obviously managed some big clubs, but my worry there is obviously he has managed big clubs. If he has one or two good seasons, would his head get turned like Carlos did if a bigger club came calling?
Yeah.
Also, he's 61. Does he have the time and energy to spend 3 or 4 years building a team? So I mean, Moyes, no, just no. It feels like going backwards. Howe is an interesting one. Obviously, he's been out of work. He loves the club. Look, it's hard to remember how he played with Bournemouth, but I don't remember them being too defensive and stagnant. Yeah, very open. Which I think we all said at the start of the season that we'd rather watch games that were 5-3 than were 1-0, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think obviously Bournemouth didn't have very many resources, very much money. And I think he took them as far as he could. I think he did an okay job, but again, I feel like he would be an underwhelming choice. So top of the pile for me has to be Graham Potter from Brighton. He's young, he's hungry, he's done really well with that team in Sweden. So he's had some sort of experience outside of England, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
He did pretty well with Swansea, which got him the job at Brighton. Now his points per match at Brighton is not great, but I think we can all acknowledge particularly the football they play. Like I've never seen a game and gone, oh, Brighton's playing, I won't watch that. If it's like Crystal Palace versus bloody Southampton or something, I'd look at it and go, ugh, I'm not watching that. But if it's Brighton, I was like, actually, I might watch that. They're a pretty attacking team. And I think one thing they really lacked was a good finisher. Maupay was their highest scorer with 8. And he missed a lot, of good work that they started. And obviously we've got DCL who's coming off a 16-goal season. So if he could bring that attacking football to us, commit to 3 or I feel like he's the type of guy that sticks around. It almost sounds like I'm weighing up a potential partner here, but that's the way it feels. Like, I feel like he's not going to fuck us over and disappear after 2 years and whisper sweet nothings in our ear, only for it all to be bullshit. Maybe I'm not as over Ancelotti as I thought I was.
We're talking about the future.
I keep seeing his smiling, horrible little face in the back of my head,
and the eyebrow. So I think for mine, it's definitely got to be Graham Potter. I doubt we will get him though, simply because obviously he's still under contract, and a lot of the guys we're linked to are not. Nick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to add to that, to be honest. I think not this whole list is pretty uninspiring. Look, I've gone back and forth on it. I think we just need a manager because I don't think any of our hearts or emotions can take it where we fall in love with a manager and and desperate for him to stay and believe every word that he says. I think we need someone that we're a little bit indifferent to, someone who's a little bit cold, someone who doesn't bullshit, someone who just gets in there and does the job. And I was leaning towards Rafa Benitez, obviously with his past connections with the Reds, and the fact that he is a good manager with a history of success. As you said, though, is he going to be another Carlo? Has he got the stomach for another 3-4 years building a team? Probably not. And he's 61, so he's probably got 1, maybe 2 more moves left in him. Probably at the top of the list, I'll probably go with Santo from Wolves. I think he did a really good job. He's obviously built them from nothing, got them promoted through the Championship, and had a couple of good seasons. Only really coming unstuck a little bit this year. But no, I'm not really optimistic. Put it that way. Andy, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not really feeling too optimistic either. I feel like I feel like it could go either way with anyone that they pick. But yeah, I guess I could be leaning towards Potter. See how that would go. But if it's I don't know, anyone else on that list, it's just I don't know. They're definitely not going to get the same reaction that I got when we did get Carlo.
And the one thing I worry about with that as well is, just as you've said, is would any of these managers, other than maybe Benitez, attract the players that we need?
Yeah, that too.
That's the issue.
But just on that point, I've heard a lot of people say that about how we need to be attracting top players. Okay, we did that with Carlo. We got James. I reckon the jury's out as to whether that actually worked. But the type of players we don't want to attract players that are 28 and at the top of their game and we have to pay $100 million for. That's not our transfer strategy. It became it for 2 players under Carlo because he said, I want those 2 players.
Yeah.
Our transfer strategy has always been under brands, 26 and under, up and coming guys who you pay 30 odd million for and hope they work out. So you don't need a big name manager to attract those type of players. What you do need to do is give those type of players games,
Yes.
which Carlo didn't do. Sorry to interrupt you, Andy.
No, that's fair enough. And you're right. Yeah, he and even what Chris was saying before, he never really. I don't think he just trusted kids. He just didn't really trust what we had. Even like some games where you think, oh yeah, Davis should be there with Allen, like just put them in the midfield, and he'll start Sigerson and Allen and Gomez, and you're like, what? This is not the type of game for that. You need that more. With Davis, he'll slide in those tackles. He'll get in the face of the opposition player. That's what you kind of need in those games, and like things like that. I don't know.
And Davis was, around that Christmas period, he was starting to put together a real nice block of games.
Yeah,
and then he just got dropped for no reason.
Yeah, it was just really, really, really odd with the switching and with the formations and stuff. Because the team sheet will be out, and you're like, "Oh man, I think this is a good. I don't think this is a good team actually."
It's never a good sign when the team sheet comes out and you have to spend 5 minutes trying to figure out what the formation's going to be because there's 5 centre backs on the team sheet.
Or you look at the Facebook reactions and go, "Oh, there's quite a few angry faces." I don't think it's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I think whatever they decide, if they think it's the best decision, then you just got to go for it. But yeah, I honestly I know. I like Nick and you guys. I was really ticked off about it all. It does feel like that. A love has just left you, and you're just like, wait, but the 3-year plan we had and the new stadium and everything, you just left.
What about our plans?
Oh, we've got a lease down on the house. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
What are we going to tell the kids?
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, it's just really wrong. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever they decide, I'm got to get behind it, and hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, whoever they pick, really is like, basically gets their shit together and is like, yeah, I'm here to work. I'm gonna do the work because there's a lot of work to be done, and they need to do it.
We're chopping and changing managers like we're owned by Roman Abramovich over the
Yeah,
last
it's
5 years.
embarrassing,
I'm
man.
over it. I'm over it. And I think
No
the
consistency.
one thing that I hope, which is going to be hard not just for us but for our entire fan base, is that whoever they do bring on board, given the names we've all just mentioned, it's obviously going to be underwhelming compared to Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
But we need to fully get behind this person and understand that the project hasn't changed. Just because Ancelotti's left doesn't mean it's going to take 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
We're not going to crack the top 6 next season. It might take 2 or 3 seasons. We need to invest in younger players and just have a bit of patience as a club, I think, and as a fan base. So if it is someone like Nuno or Eddie Howe, which seems uninspired, we need to give them a chance, and we need to see the project through and have some stability, I think.
Yeah, and if they're not if like 6-7 games in and it's still not up to standard, then yeah, I'm sorry, they are up for criticism, and we will, tell it how it is. Chris.
Yeah, which we didn't do with Carlo.
Yeah.
I read before that 40 people have contacted Everton about the job. So 40 managers out there are interested in some way. That'll be their managers as well, putting their hat into the ring. To read some of the odds, so the bookmakers.
Oh yeah.
Nuno's at $1.50. He dropped from $3 yesterday, so it's nearly. The bookies think that that's who we're going to get. Eddie Howe, David Moyes, the second favourite. Rafa Benitez, Frank Lampard, and Eric Ten Hag are there. Conte, who we're not getting, he's going to Tottenham. Apparently, that's going to be announced in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Fonseca, Graham Potter, they're all there. For me, it's it's a tough one. Like we've all said, it's going to be uninspiring. It's going to be, we've just landed the girl who's an 8, and we're now going to get a 4. You're always going to want that 8, but we can't get the 8 now.
Carlo was a 10.
10. There you go. There you go. For me, I guess if we're going to stay and we're going to stick to the plan, then we should have got Arteta. We didn't. So are we still going to do that? It's going to be interesting. Who's going to get this manager in? Is it going to be Brands or is it going to be Mashuri? Because if Brands gets the manager he wants, then I think we're on. If Mashuri has someone behind the scenes that, I like that guy, I'll get him, we could be in for some more issues. So,
Yeah, it has to be Brands.
Like a Conte or a Sarri whose name is starting to pop up now.
Sarri's at 50 to 1, and it wouldn't surprise me if, everyone says, we want a world-class manager. Mashuri might go, I've just gone from Carlo. I'm going to go and throw my checkbook at Sarri and try and get him. He seems
he must have learned, though. I mean, over his time, we've had Koeman, who was like supposedly a world-class manager, and I guess is now at Barcelona, so whatever. Bobby Brown shoes, who came from a relegated. So what I'm saying is we tried world-class sort of thing, or a high reputation manager with Koeman. Then we went to this guy who played attractive football because that's what we wanted, despite the fact that he just got his team relegated. Then we went with another guy who played attractive football in Silva. Then we went with bloody gravy tits because Silva nearly got us relegated. We needed
saving. Yeah.
Then we got, and then now we got Carlo Ancelotti, and that hasn't worked. Surely he's learnt now. We've tried all the different styles of managers except for a young, hungry manager.
Yeah.
Who's going to stick around. Surely he's learnt.
You know who I'm surprised, and I'm not saying that I'd want him, especially after the season that they've just had, but Hasenhüttl from Southampton. I'm surprised that he's not at least in the mix. Because
I did see him mentioned somewhere, but not very seriously.
Because on the big list of, on the bookies and stuff, he's not even on there. And I would have thought that someone like him, because, Southampton to Everton is a step up. And, he had a really high reputation. It's dropped off a little bit. I think Southampton had a bit of a stinking second half of the year. But yeah, I'm surprised that he's not up there. I wouldn't be against that. But
that sounds eerily similar to Koeman, though, for me.
Well, yeah. It's,
he's had a bit of a dodgy second half of the year, but otherwise he's a good manager.
I think what we need, and it sort of pains me a bit to say this, but we need a Brendan Rodgers style manager. Someone that comes into the club and instantly takes on everything about that club, takes on the project, takes on the fact that, okay, we're bringing in young players and we're going to play young players. And to me, I think our best option for that is Potter from Brighton. He's played young players. He's played Ben White from Brighton, got into the England squad with Godfrey. They both got cut at exactly the same time. Ben White's a really, really good player. He's done well there. Basuma, heaps of them. For him to keep them up
Trossard.
for 2 years, Trossard, another one. The squad that he had there was pretty bang average, really. They're relying on Morpay to score all their goals. They had Glenn Murray, players like that, just workman type players.
Yeah.
Imagine bringing him in and some of the young players that we have, like just to run through some of the young players that we have, the talent. We've got Branthwaite. He's clearly, from what we've seen, is a good player. He's even been linked with teams like Manchester City for a buyout because he's a young English player. We got Nkunku. We got Thierry Small, who is the next big thing at left back, and someone who probably should be in there pushing Luca Dean to the levels that we know he could be. Gabaman, we haven't seen him play. He's 25. I know he's made of glass, but he's 25. Hopefully he gets a pre-season into him. Davies is only 22 still. Okay, yeah, he's not the greatest player, but he's a workman. So he's someone that you need in your squad.
Good squad.
We got Tyler Onyango, who's 18. He's been linked with everyone for 2 years. He's been our best player in our under 23s. We've got Alice Sims and Gordon, who both got sent out on loan. Alice Sims was banging goals in for fun last year in the 23s. And this year, still couldn't get onto the bench. Still couldn't get a game. We loaned him out. He went and scored goals for Blackpool. Gordon had a bit of a bad time out on loan, but the kid's only 20. We have, that's them. And then you add in DCL and Richarlison, who are both 24. That's 11 players, plus a 21-year-old goalkeeper in Virginia who is more than worthy of being a backup. He's better than Olsen, in my opinion.
And another one who played 2 games and played them quite well, and then he booted him.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But that's a squad. That's a squad there of young players under 25 that you could build around, or you could get some decent money selling them. You add in, some of the other players that we've already got, Luca Dean, that sort of thing. Coleman's probably got another year off the bench.
Yeah.
Gylfi Sigurdsson may have a role to play if we can't get anybody to take his spot. Players like that. So if we were to get someone like Graham Potter and to say, hey, mate, you've got 10 players here that are under 25 that we want, plus we'll bring you in a few, plus you've then got these other players. Anyone you want to bring into this, what can you do with this? He's probably the type of manager that could be able to work with it. The other one that I think that I know, and we don't, we've all dismissed this straight away. The other one that might bring a little bit of stability would be Dunk. I don't think he's ready personally, but he's had 18 months working with Carlo Ancelotti, who up until 3 days ago, we all thought was one of the greatest managers ever. He's had 18 months working under him, so he's clearly got to have learned something. We know he's going to bring the passion. We know he knows the club. We know he knows the players. We know he loves the players and loves the club. He would bring a little bit of stability. I just don't know about his tactics and how he would go about getting the best out of players and whether he would be just not up to it yet. So, for me, they're the only two that we could really look at. I think anybody else is just more of the same.
Yeah.
Well,
Nuno's another Marco Silva, Roberto Martinez. They're exactly the same.
To upset you, Nick, Chris, sorry, at the moment the bookies have just dropped Nuno down to $1.67 and Twitter's saying he's ready to sign a 3-year contract.
So there you go. And we're going to, I can nearly guarantee the same thing will happen. He'll come in, we'll be really, really good at the start. He'll bring in one really good signing that we all like. We might get Traore, for example.
Or Neves.
There you go.
Neves.
He's going to plead in
win a few games, and then we'll fall off the cliff. By December, Duncan will take over as interim. We all know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We all know it's going to happen.
Maybe not, though. I mean, he built Wolves. You know what I mean? He stuck there for 3 or 4 years, and he did quite well with them until this season where, what's his name? Raul? Whatever his name is.
Yeah, they got injured, yeah.
Jimenez got injured, and they never found a way to replace him. But I think he's done very well with Wolves. I don't think he's another Bobby Martinez.
He plays the same style of football. His team's Portugal. That's all he was. He was all about those Portuguese players. He's not going to get that at Everton. He's not going to be able to bring in all his own Portuguese players because people up to brands. At Wolves, it was all on him. He was the one doing all the work. At Everton, he's not going to get that. For me, if we get him, I would be putting all my money on him to be the first Premier League manager to be sacked next year. That's what I'm going to say. Wow. Because I just don't think he's up to it.
Yeah.
Wolves were better than us last year, right? They were better than us last year. Okay, they got Jota was sold. They bought in a few. But their drop-off in form this season was huge. It was Roberto Martinez-like. First season, really, really good, really positive. Second season, horrible. And that's what he did at Wolves. So for me, he would be probably the worst candidate that I can see on there. Because we're talking, we want stability, we want someone who's going to do, we're calling it a project. We need someone who's going to be there for the long, someone that's going to dig in and, okay, we've had some shit run of results. Let's change it up a little bit. For me, Nuno doesn't do that.
So just going around the grounds then, who do we all want just quickly before we sign off?
Andy.
I would say Potter.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm definitely Potter, but it looks like it's going to be Nuno, and I don't think it's the worst appointment. I was just looking like seventh, 2 seasons in a row he got Wolves to 7th. He's stuck around there for 3 or 4 years, so he sticks around. But yeah, I'd prefer Potter, but if it's Nuno, I'll support it. Chris?
I think Potter's our best chance to get what we all want. I think we're going to end up with Eddie Howe or Nuno, but it is what it is. But if we sign Nuno in the next few days, I'm going to put money on him being the first manager sacked next year because Mark my words.
The spirit.
Duncan will be in by Christmas. Duncan will be in by Christmas, and we all know it.
Nick?
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this on camera, but and this is probably against everything that we've said in relation to getting a star manager in. But I
Steven
think
Gerrard.
You know what? I'll say that in the WhatsApp group. I was
You
kind of
were.
half on the line now. I was thinking, do you know what? I've just had it so much with Everton. I've had enough. Like, I'm
Yeah.
at my wit's end. I
That
just
might
wanna see
tip you over the edge.
I want to see the world burn.
Yeah.
And Steven Gerrard would cause absolute chaos within our fan base. And I think it would be absolutely hilarious.
Because he hates us so much as it is. And,
Get him in. Like, what? And he'd have to suck it up, and it'd be great, and it'll widen them up as well. It's a half joke, but the fact that I am done with Everton right now, absolutely sick to death of it. But no, I'm going to go with another ex-Red Shite, Rafa. I'd like him as number one choice. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that is logical in relation to what's just happened with Ancelotti, but I think he's the absolute best manager on what is a very mediocre list.
Yeah, I
definitely
agree.
is mediocre. Yeah.
All right, well, maybe I think we'll get some news soon. By the look of it, it looks like as every hour passes, just like it seemed more and more likely that Carlo was leaving, it seems more and more likely that Nuno's coming. To be honest.
So basically, when we wake up tomorrow morning, you reckon, Tim?
It's possible. Yeah, I mean, if the bookies are slashing him down to $1.67 and the next sort of shortest odds are $7 or $8.
Yeah,
they know something we don't.
I've just lumped on Rafa as well, which is really annoying. But anyway,
that's all right. You can dream, man. You can dream.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Just like I hope Chris is wrong that if it is Nuno, he's not going to be sacked by Christmas.
All the rumours are still saying that this bloke's linked and this bloke's linked, and there's nothing from Fabrizio Romano. So until Fabrizio Romano says it's happening, it's not happening because he's never wrong. He literally broke the Carlo news, and within 3 hours it was done.
Yeah. I really want to know how this guy gets his news for every club.
Yeah, from Italy. Yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it?
He's got
He must
do a lot of favours.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Or he does a lot of favours. If you get what I'm saying.
He gives a lot of favours.
And with that, I think we'll wrap it up there.
On a happy note.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. And you can find us all on the socials. Not sure when we'll be back, but yeah.
Maybe to have a fume about whoever we announce.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, the announcement.
We'll keep it ad hoc, off the cuff. Depending on lockdown and things like that. But it's good to do these every now and then.
Yeah.
Good to see you, lads.